reform and austerity programme were put into place, George Osborne said, "I hope we are a fair and equal society. I think the combination of welfare reform, educational reform and indeed health reform will help bring that about."
Over the next 30 minutes we will be exploring 3 issues that affect many people on a daily basis to see what the real effects of the austerity and welfare reform have been. I'll be looking at homelessness and how this affects people in Wythenshawe and Manchester.
I will be looking at the issues of benefits to understand whether there's any links between unemployment and homelessness.
And I will be looking at the issues around unemployment in Wythenshawe and how that can lead to homelessness around the city. To start with, I went to meet Nigel Wilson, Chief Exec of Wythenshawe Community Housing Group, to talk to him about the current situation of employment. Hi, I'm Shannon. Thank you for taking the time to let me interview you today.
You're most welcome.
How does unemployment link to benefits and homelessness?
I think, in a sense, there's a vicious circle at play. And if you are homeless or if you are in temporary accommodation, the chances of you finding permanent employment are a lot less. The simple things like if you want to go for a job interview, you need to, have a wash, have some clean clothes. That's very hard to do if you're having to sleep rough or sleep on the streets or sofa surf, as some people have to. So those things have a direct correlation. I think in some ways we've seen the opportunities for employment increase, but we've seen the austerity that's been brought in by the current government in terms of welfare reforms and welfare changes have a direct impact. So whether it's the bedroom tax, whether it's the benefit caps, whether it's the changes to universal credit, whether it's the increase in sanctions against families, all of those things mean that people are struggling. The real challenge to that is what's known as in-work poverty. So people who are earning the minimum wage or below, people who haven't got secure contracts, who are on 0-hour contracts, so they don't know if they're working 10 hours one week or 40 hours or 15 hours. If they don't get any sick pay, they don't get any holiday pay. And for many families, particularly, that insecurity of income is a terrible thing.
What would you say to people who say the unemployed are just lazy?
I'd say that they really are being lazy themselves in terms of their thinking. Any of us that watch the TV and horrible programmes which are taking people in a bad situation and making TV out of them, whether that was Benefit Street and other things. And I think all that does is sensationalise. It's not relevant. When we held a jobs fair at the airport recently, over 600 people went there to try and get a job. These aren't lazy people. These are people who want an opportunity, who want a life that gives them some sustainability and some security. Unemployed people have to be incredibly resilient against that background.
What do you think could be done to help the unemployed?
Things like work experience for people is really important. Getting people into the world of work for 8 weeks or longer so they actually feel that thing about getting up, the routine of it, being in the world of work, having those conversations. And by giving somebody the opportunity to do work experience, you're giving people a story to tell.
What are the housing sector currently doing to help the unemployed?
We've been part of a programme called Real Opportunities in 2011. Nearly 1,200 people have been helped in that programme. We've put 652 people into work directly, and we've helped over 500 people get into training. This year alone, 99 people have got into employment and 46 have got into training. So we can always do more, and we're now part of a big programme across Greater Manchester called Motivate, and that provides people who are further away from the job market with specific one-to-one coaching and mentoring and support to get them into the world of work.
Do you think there's a way that we could eradicate unemployment completely?
No, is the honest answer to that. I think there will always be some unemployment. There will always be some turnover of employment. People's circumstances change. You get ill, you can't work. Other things happen. So I think there will always be. It's how you limit the amount of unemployment and how you maximise people's opportunities.
Thank you for taking the time to answer my question.
You're most welcome.
After meeting with Nigel, I managed to arrange a meeting with a young person who is currently unemployed about his life and what he's currently doing with it. How long have you been unemployed?
For about 2 years now.
Do you get any support, and if so, what?
I get support from Reform Radio, which is an online radio station that helps young people get into employment.
Have you had any job interviews?
Yeah, I've had a few job interviews. I'm not keen on job interviews at all.
Do you think what they're looking for is quite tough?
Yeah, they're looking for a polished product when it's not about that. It's especially like in the apprenticeships and that, they're still always looking for a polished product, but especially for apprenticeship you work and then you get your qualifications after that.
Have you been in this situation before?
Yeah, I've been in this situation a couple of times. I just get on with it, grin and bear it, and then hopefully get into work.
Have you had any feedback from job interviews or applications?
Yeah, and they just say you're not qualified enough. That is the same thing over and over and over again, as you don't have this on your CV, so we can't employ you. Because there's always going to be someone else who has that on their CV, and they'll get the job.
How does that make you feel?
I don't know how it makes me feel. That's just life. That's what happens. If I was in the employer's shoes and say I had one person there who was good at one job, like I don't know, and another person there, I'd pick the person who was the most qualified because he's going to do the best job possible. But
what do you think people could do to help?
By offering them volunteering jobs. If they can volunteer, they might not be getting paid, and like I said, money makes the world go around. They might not be getting paid, but just get on with it, and then a couple of years after volunteering or anything, for all you know, you could be in the perfect job that you want to be just by volunteering, because you've got the commitment to do unpaid work.
Thank you again for letting us interview you today.
Thank you.